What's up, y'all? This Lil W at Slab OG's TV. Man, I ain't did a Slab History 101 in probably about 2 weeks now, you know what I'm saying? And this one that we're gonna cover today is, I feel like, kind of like an important one, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of people that come on this channel that do the interviews, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of give, I guess you could say, they side of the story, they facts, you know what I'm saying? But I know one thing's for sure, one thing for certain, whether from the north to south, you know what I'm saying? A name that everybody of, the 80s, the 90s, you know what I'm saying, heard of, somebody that was the first of their class, you know what I'm saying, the first lady to ride Slab, which is a proven fact, you know what I'm saying, Miss Charlotte, SouthPark Diva, you know what I'm saying? So, man, she came up in South Park. I'm not really sure which particular side of South Park. If you know the whole Keith Babin story, you read his audio book. Her brother was Roger Rabbit, you know what I'm saying? Another known figure, known name in the Slab game, you know what I'm saying? Well, actually, I do know where she is from. If I'm not mistaken, you know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. I know if she watching this, she gonna for sure call me and let me know. If I'm not mistaken, she is from the dead end, you know what I'm saying, the VA apartments. So I had to get that straight, you know what I'm saying? So, VA apartments, dead end, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about this era, she kind of was the first lady in the early 80s. So before a lot of niggas really rode Slab that we know of today, she was riding amongst the first, I would say the first generation. To me, when it comes to the Slab game, we talk about the history. It's like different generations that you could break down the Slab in. You got the early 80s, you got the late 90s, and a lot of those the early 80s, the late 80s, and then a lot of those guys that was riding in the late 80s, you know their names because, they rode in the early 90s. Then you got the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, 2020s, and then you got now, you know what I'm saying? So she was amongst the first generation, you know what I'm saying? And when I say the first generation, I'm saying Keith Babin, Smitty, Poopy, Catfish, Stefan, Floyd, like that is her era, you know what I'm saying? So we gonna say like 83, 84, 85, 86, you know what I'm saying? So just talking about those eras, you kind of got to paint a picture in your head and think about what was going on in Houston during this era, you know what I'm saying? I always said on the channel that I did my little research that in South Park in the 80s, I always say this on the channel, in South Park in the 80s, it damn near like cannibalized itself just because you had so much drugs going on, you had so much crime going on on the South Side specifically, in South Park specifically, but just really in every black neighborhood in America, you know what I'm saying? And to know that it was a female out here that was riding on these wheels, it kind of stood the test of time, you know what I'm saying? Like we always say, if you kind of been following the channel, you already know that in the early 80s, those wheels were always, you know what I'm saying, from the beginning of the time, you know what I'm saying, those wheels have always been sought after, you know what I'm saying? But in the early 80s, I would say it wasn't necessarily a jacking kind of thing, if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, if you knew that person was coming down on them wheels, you know that they was a stomp down nigga, a hustling motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody that was just well known in their neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? That really put it down and to where they could ride on those wheels. And then, you got to the late 80s, early 90s. That's when kind of like the carjacking kind of came into play. I know she had a bunch of Cadillacs. She had a bunch of Fleetwoods, Coupe de Villes, Baby Lacs, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't even really just sit here and name to you all the cars that she done had, you know what I'm saying? Because she always tell me all the time, but I know for sure she was a Cadillac woman. That is what she rode, you know what I'm saying, in the 80s, the 90s. She rode Cadillac, you know what I'm saying? So, it kind of always tripped me out when I do hear these stories, because I kind of do my history when it comes to the Slab. And I always like to hear the stories of how it was back then, what kind of nigga you had to be to ride on Slab back then. And to just hear that it was a female, early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s that was really riding slab and putting it down and was just as stiff as the rest of the niggas, you know what I'm saying, that was on the slab. Her name held the same weight, you know what I'm saying? I even talked to my mama before after I had interviewed her. I think her interview was like the third, fourth, fifth, sixth one that I did on the channel. And I think my mom had watched it, you know what I'm saying? And she was even like, I remember her from back in the day. Like, she was like, she was a gangster, you know what I'm saying? She had niggas around her, you know what I'm saying? I was going to protect her, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, by herself, she still stood on her own 2 feet, you know what I'm saying? So, man, I just kind of want to come in and kind of just give a shout out, give a salute to Miss Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? The SouthPark Diva, I mean, because I ain't gonna even really say it's just been a lot of females that rolled slab after her. I mean, we all know we got Mama D, we got Pretty Face that came later on. You got Southwest Quisha that came later on. Uh, Man, that's pretty much that off the top of my head that I can really just think of, you know what I'm saying? But it was a start from Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? Charlotte really birthed a lot of that to allow a lot of women to ride slab, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a couple other women that I see at the block parties that, kind of pull up on their slabs, you know what I'm saying? And even back then, you hear stories about how a woman might have took her dude car and rode in her dude car, carrying down the boulevard, went to the store, or went down MLK or something while her dude was in front of her, but it was her dude car, you know what I'm saying? With Charlotte, that was not the case, you know what I'm saying? Charlotte really was the one that was coming down, riding slab, you know what I'm saying? Even had, I ain't gonna really speak on it too much, but if you don't really, if you didn't watch the interview that I did with her, you know what I'm saying, go check that out. But I mean, it was even situations where you had some niggas that might have tried to test her, you know what I'm saying? And hey, like I said, go watch the interviews, you know what I'm saying? She had to handle her business, you know what I'm saying? That's why I always love doing these Slab History 101s because it always really tap into, what was going on during this time, you got people like Charlotte. I feel like a lot of people on the north side specifically, because like on the north side, you might have Mama D, you know what I'm saying? That was riding in the 90s, but even before Mama D, you had Charlotte that was putting it down, you know what I'm saying, on the slab, you know what I'm saying? So, man, I mean, she got a plethora of interviews out. I know she got an interview with me. She got an interview with Donna Houston that she did, you know what I'm saying? I talk to her on the phone all the time, and one thing I wanted to say too, I want to see a lot more women ride slab. I never really, this channel, it really caters to, I guess you could say, the guys per se, you know what I'm saying, that ride slab and everything. But I mean, it is a lot of women out here that watch this channel and that want to see more women slabs coming down, you know what I'm saying? I want to see it, I want to see more women come down, a bunch of women come down in their own line, you know what I'm saying? So, man, if it's some women out there, that y'all like these cars, y'all got some hustle in y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got enough money to put a slab together. Hey, man, put a slab together, you know what I'm saying? Because it was women before y'all that was doing their thing, too. So, shout out to Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? I always talk to her, you know what I'm saying? She always give me game. She always talk about that south side, you know what I'm saying? And she's still real gangster to this day, you know what I'm saying? So, man, I love Charlotte, you know what I'm saying? She always gonna, keep it 100 with a nigga, you know what I'm saying? But I think she still got a slab to this day. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 66 Impala. 66, anywhere between like a 66 and like a 67. That's the Impala she got. White, I want to say it got blue insides. Uh, she had that like maybe like 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? But I know she still got it, and I know she trying to, put it back together, kind of come back on the boulevard, you know what I'm saying? So, man, when y'all ever see Charlotte, you know what I'm saying, give her some motivation to put that car out to, you know what I'm saying? Because I really want to see her on the boulevard again, and I want to get on another interview, you know what I'm saying? Because she had a lot of stuff to say on the first interview, but, man, it's Slab History 101, Charlotte, SouthPark Diva, You know, if y'all don't know y'all history, man, do y'all history. It's a lot of history in this slab game. That's one thing that I really want to start. That's one of the reasons I wanted to start doing the slab history one-on-ones, because it's so much history, it's so much OGs that I can cover, you know what I'm saying? And she is one of them. I know one time somebody told me that, you know, eventually one day, I know my YouTube channel called Slab OGs TV. One person told me one time that I'm gonna run out of OGs to do, but man, I don't even look at it like that because there's so many unspoken OGs that might have passed away, OGs that's locked up, you know what I'm saying, in these different neighborhoods that everybody from those specific eras remember, you know what I'm saying, because I mean, when I first started, man, I kind of wanted to do just 80s and 90s OGs, but then I had to kind of wrap my head around that, man. It's OGs from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, mid 2000s up until right now, you know what I'm saying? So, man, y'all just kind of do y'all history, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all history on the slab game, do y'all history on y'all neighborhood that y'all from. Cause man, it run deep, you know what I'm saying? It run deep, it run real deep. Shout out Charlotte. Every Monday, every Friday, I'ma always drop a video, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, Mondays, and I drop a video anywhere between like 5 and like 7 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? Fridays, no matter what, always 12 o'clock. If you want me to come to your city, your town, if you got an OG that you want me to cover, you know what I'm saying, man, y'all let me know. If y'all seen Charlotte come down back in the day in the 80s, man, y'all drop a comment in the comment box below, you know what I'm saying? Kind of tell your story on Charlotte. Like I said, she was